Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be a historical romance reading vlog. This is in collaboration with a bunch of other romance booktubers. I'll link everyone down below, so be sure to check out their channels and their vlogs. Basically, we are all gonna be reading historical romances. Personally for me, it's been a hot minute since the last time I really read historical romances, and I miss them so much. Like last year in 2023, I only read 8 historical romances throughout the entire year. That's like less than a historical romance a month, and I feel really bad about it. I binged them so hard in 2020, 2021, I think even 2022. That was my historical romance era, and I am determined to get back into that era in 2024. So to sort of ease myself back into my historical romance love, I am gonna do some rereads. I've chosen 2 books to reread. I don't think I'll be able to read anything more than that because I'm also working on reading for some other videos. But for my 2 books, they are from 2 of my all-time favorite historical romance authors. You can probably guess who one of these authors is. I made a whole dedicated video to her. It's my queen, Lisa Kleypas. And of all the books that I've chosen to reread, for some reason I'm gravitating towards Suddenly You. Here's some step back action. This is one of the prettiest ones, and it's 2 pages. This is one of my favorites from Lisa Kleypas. It's not like a top favorite, but it's definitely up there. I don't know why, I'm just like craving this book right now. Maybe it's because Suddenly You, for me, is Lisa Kleypas's hottest book. I just love Jack in this, okay? He is so hot. And then the other author I'll be rereading is a classic. I am rereading Judith McNaught, and my favorite book from her is Whitney, My Love. I have the original paperback with the OG cover. I think this is the first printing. Yes, it is. First pocketbooks printing January 1985, and it's got this beautiful artwork on the cover, the front and the back cover. It says the artist in the copyright page. It's Harry Bennett. It's just so stunning. I love it, and I love this book. As controversial as it is, it's everything. I am obsessed with the angst in this book. It is wild and intense, and I just love the romance in it. So these are gonna be my 2 books I'll be rereading for this vlog, and I'm very excited because I love both of these books, and it's been a while since I last read them. I am probably gonna start with Suddenly You first, just because I miss Lisa Kleypas, okay? So I will update you guys when I am making my way through this reread. Hello! Okay, so I am making my way through Suddenly You, and I'm having the best time. I forgot how good this was, but I am so glad that I picked this one because it's amazing. I love it. And I especially love the beginning because it has one of the best meet cutes that I've ever read about, because the heroine hires a prostitute to help her get rid of her virginity, and when the hero shows up at her door, she thinks that he is the guy that she hired. He is not. Jack is not a prostitute. He is actually a publisher who wants to publish her books, but it's such a unique premise, right? Like, I've never read anything like this before, especially not in a historical romance. Like in the prologue, Amanda goes to this establishment and she pretty much gives like a checklist of what kind of man she wants, what kind of prostitute she wants, because this girl is about to turn 30. She is tired of the spinster life, and she just wants to get over making love for the first time. And on the night of her 30th birthday, Jack shows up, right? And she gets cold feet. She's like, I'm so sorry. I don't think I can actually go through with this. And he, of course, is very confused about who she thinks he is. He does play along with it though, which is also pretty funny. And even though she changes her mind about the whole setup, he does end up giving her pleasure. He doesn't take her virginity, but she has a great time, a great night. And then the next day she goes to meet with a publisher, and of course this is where she sees Jack again, and this is when she learns exactly who he is and who he is not. Honestly, this whole setup, this whole book is just so entertaining. I love Amanda and Jack so much. They have so much incredible chemistry. I love the way that Jack is so into Amanda. Like, he is intrigued by her, he loves her intelligence, and he loves her writing too, because Amanda is a writer and Jack wants to publish her books. Anyway, it's great. Of course, they have that hiccup thing with the mistaken identity, but I just love their banter, all the tension between them, and how seductive Jack is. Like, he is going hard into seducing Amanda. So I'm going to continue reading more of this, but if you couldn't tell, I am having the best time. Hi, so it's a weekend and I am feeling like baking. It's been a while since I made some sticky toffee pudding, so I'll probably make that. I still have a bunch more dates left over from when I bought them earlier. I just got back from walking Boo and I have like no plans for this weekend, so baking it is. Also, Boo is with me right now. Alright, so I have finished my reread of Suddenly You, and also I did want to show you guys, I have 2 copies of this book. I have the original one with the step back right here, and then a newer version that I think I actually bought at the Ripped Bodice. They're almost the same, they have the same cover model on the side, but they added a bunch of sparkles to the new version, as well as like a sort of background to the whole red space. But this book, easily 5 stars again. Let me actually try to find my review. Okay, so the first time that I ever read this was in 2018. I'm checking my Goodreads for the dates. September 11th to September 13th, 2018. And of course I gave it 5 stars. It is still a 5-star read, even the second round. But I said, oh my god, I adored this book. Amanda and Jack were so charming. I couldn't help but fall for this independent heroine who writes and a scoundrel who wants to publish her books. Short and sweet and to the point. And yeah, I fell even more in love with Jack and Amanda during this reread. I love how fierce Amanda is, but she still has some insecurities about herself, and it all just made her feel so real and genuine. And I love the fact that Jack calls her Peaches, and I love that he does everything he can to dispel her insecurities. One of which is like, she doesn't really think she's beautiful, but Jack is like, no, you are beautiful. Repeat after me. You're beautiful. He's just so good to her, she's so good to him, and they match each other like intelligence wise. They're just so fun and entertaining to read about. And also, I'm pretty sure I mentioned that this is one of Lisa Kleypas's hottest books. Like, for me, out of all the books that I read, this is definitely up there in terms of not just quality but quantity. I feel like this has more steam than the usual Lisa Kleypas book does. I could be wrong, it's been a while since I've read her, but I love Jack's sensuality here. I mean, the tagline on the cover, it says the most sensual romance of the year, and I can believe it. Like, the chemistry, that tension between them, the way Jack is just hell-bent on having Amanda. This is a man who knows what he wants and he goes after it hard. He's so possessive and protective over Amanda. They are so perfect. Okay, now that my reread of Suddenly You is done, it's time to move on to some angst. I mean, there is some angst in Suddenly You, don't get me wrong, but nothing compared to Whitney, my love, alright? This is one of the angstiest historical romances that I've read, and I'm just craving some good angst right now. Let me check when I read this one. I actually read this one pretty later on. Okay, so I read this in 2021, January 14th through 15th, and it was absolutely one of my favorite reads of that year. This was the very first Judith McNaught book that I had ever read, and I fell instantly in love with it. Like, I love the writing, I love the storytelling, and of course I loved the messy angst. Like, it gets messy almost to a point where you almost hate the hero, but somehow the author made him redeemable and forgivable, at least for me. I mean, of course, it's going to be different for every reader. I am going to be rereading this original because I actually prefer it. Like, I've read this original, I read the edited scenes in the newer edition, but I just really like the OG. So I'll be back when I've started reading this one. So my reread of Whitney, My Love is going well. I'm taking a little bit longer to read this one just because, well, it's longer for one, and there's just a lot to the story, and plus, like, the whole beginning goes pretty slowly. The first part is Whitney as a young girl, like, she's growing up and she is growing into the type of girl that's not like the typical lady. She's got a lot more spirit to her, a lot more uniqueness. She's definitely a not like other girls girl, but the way she's written is just so endearing. I love her. And then the next part is Whitney going to France and learning how to actually become a lady. And this is when she's starting to get some suitors, one of which is Clayton, our Duke hero, although Whitney doesn't actually know that he is a possible suitor. It actually takes a while for this romance to get going just because we get the whole beginning with Whitney growing up, but now she is all grown up. And the interesting thing about this romance is that basically Clayton buys Whitney. From the moment that these two meet, Clayton knows that Whitney is it for him. He wants her as his wife, and since he's a duke who gets everything, he goes straight to her father. He offers up money and bam, arranged marriage. They don't actually get married right away though, because Clayton wants to take the time to actually get Whitney to fall in love with him first before they officially get married. And the great thing about this is that Whitney doesn't just instantly fall for Clayton because she thinks she's in love with like a childhood crush of hers. So it's a little bit messy, but it's a good kind of messy. I finished up Whitney, My Love, and there's just something about this book that gets to me every single time. Like, the passion, the intensity, the angst. It is so well written. It's a romance that sweeps you away and doesn't let you go. The emotions here, all the ups and downs, it goes up to like the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. I am still so obsessed with this book. I would actually highly recommend it. Well, for one, anyone who loves old school historical romances, those old school bodice rippers, because in the original version there is some bodice ripping. But I would also recommend this for anyone who loves dark romance. Like, if you love the type of hero who is obsessive, jealous, and possessive, the ones who will do anything to have the heroine, that is exactly Clayton, this hero. Like, he has a morally gray side to him. He's not the best guy, but his love for Whitney is on another level. And I love the way that he cherishes her uniqueness. He sees her for her. He wants her to be her true self around him. He adores her. He just has a very unconventional way of showing his love. I mean, the first time that I read this, I instantly saw why this is such a beloved classic book in historical romance. It blew me away the first time that I ever read it, and I loved it just as much with this reread. It was interesting doing a reread of the controversial scenes that did get edited, but it was interesting reading about them, when I knew they were coming. Honestly, I've read a lot worse in some other historical romances, some other bodice rippers, but it was a fantastic reread. That's about it though for this historical romance reading vlog. I am now so ready to pick up some more historical romances. These two books have gotten me in the perfect historical romance mood, but I kind of want to just read more Lisa Kleypas and Judith McNaught. I am very curious though, for all the Lisa Kleypas fans, which is your favorite Lisa Kleypas book to reread? Like, I almost went with Again the Magic just because that's one of my absolute favorites from her, but that one's also super angsty and I didn't want to read like back-to-back angsty historical romances. So yeah, I'm so happy that I chose Suddenly You to reread. I surprisingly still have quite a few Lisa Kleypas books that I need to get to. I'm basically saving them like in case of emergency. I can still break out some new historical romances from Lisa Kleypas that I haven't read yet, because Homegirl has not released a new book since 2022. No, it was actually 2021. That's when Devil in Disguise came out, the 7th Ravenel's book. So it's been almost 3 years since we've gotten anything new from Lisa Kleypas, and I am begging her to come back. I mean, I hope she's doing okay, you know, that there's nothing wrong, but we're in a Lisa Kleypas drought and that could not be more tragic. So yeah, that's why I'm still saving some of her books to be read in case she actually does stop writing. I mean, I'm praying she never does. I think there was talk or rumors about her like signing more books with Avon, like at least another historical romance and maybe 2 more contemporaries, but nothing's really come out of that. So I am begging you, Lisa Kleypas, if you are listening to this, if you're watching this, please come back because we need you. As for Judith McNaught, I think she's still alive. I mean, I'm checking her Wikipedia page. Doesn't say anything about her having passed away, but she's definitely at an age where I don't think she's writing anymore. But she did stop writing like a long time ago anyway, so not exactly praying for a comeback from her. But I do also have a bunch of Judith McNaught books that I still need to get to because I've only read 4 of her books, 3 historical romances and 1 contemporary. So I do have a lot of options from both of these authors, and I'm just excited to read more historical romances. But that's it for this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Also, be sure to check out everyone else's vlogs. I'm excited to see what historical romances everyone else chose to read. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!